ICE killed a man in March of 2025, and we're just now finding out about it. DHS did not publicly disclose the shooting at the time.
Get him out! Get him out!
I don't blame President Trump for the death of my son because he wasn't the one who pulled the trigger.
A Trump voter is finding herself questioning her beliefs after ICE fatally gunned down her US citizen son. She just gave an interview for the first time, and it gives us a fascinating insight into the intense emotions involved in people who vote for Trump's campaign of anger and hatred and find themselves or their loved ones on the wrong end of it. This is an incredibly difficult and delicate topic, which is why it's potentially wildly inappropriate that I'm the one covering it, but I'm going to try my best. I'm going to break down the interview, how her beliefs have or, probably haven't changed since the incident, and then go into an angle of these unfortunate leopards ate my face type moments that few people actually cover. The way in which Trump voters get tossed under the bus the second they speak out about their experiences, no matter how valid their position might be. At Raw America, our mission is to cover parts of the news that the mainstream media will not touch, and hopefully to do so in a way that will still let you sleep at night. So please do take the time to drop a like and subscribe to our channel if you appreciate our work and what we're doing here. 23-year-old Ruben Ray Martinez was shot and killed in March of 2025 in a story that largely flew under the radar for a while. Initial reporting was very limited, contained to local news outlets that described it simply as an officer-involved shooting, which unfortunately in a local newspaper in America is about as dramatic as a local newspaper in the UK reporting on rain. Then in February 2026, a Freedom of Information request by the independent watchdog group American Oversight revealed the true nature of the shooting, and as larger outlets started to pick up on it, it started to go viral. A US citizen victim of ICE many months before chaotic authoritarian scenes in Minneapolis were dominating headlines. And finally, his mother is speaking out, except there's a catch. She's a Trump voter. She voted for the man who funded the personal army who ultimately killed her son. That's quite the sentence, but that's also America in 2026 for you. Let's watch this clip together.
Well, 10 months before immigration officers shot and killed Renee Good and Alex Preddy in Minneapolis, an ICE agent killed 23-year-old American citizen Ruben Ray Martinez. But ICE's involvement was only recently disclosed. And like in the cases of Good and Preddy, witnesses dispute the official account of what unfolded. In a CBS News exclusive, immigration correspondent Camilo Montoya Galvez sat down with Martinez's mother for her first television interview.
Everything was good. Just don't understand why it had to be this way.
Rachel Reyes' son, 23-year-old American citizen Ruben Ray Martinez, was killed by an ICE agent nearly 1 year ago.
I was devastated and in disbelief. And it's bad enough to lose your child, but then to lose your child at the hands of law enforcement when they're supposed to be the ones to protect your child.
I've got no intention of being disrespectful here. I feel for this woman. I can't agree with her votes or her mentality, but, losing a son in any instance is obviously absolutely tragic. What I can't understand is the cognitive dissonance, the disconnect in people who, she understands the idea of losing your son to, a law enforcement officer is an extra level of messed up. And it's like, but that's been happening to other people. Before they did that to your son, that's been happening to other people and, and lots of immigrants even. There are so many people who've died in custody. I think ICE deaths in custody are completely out of control, like record-breaking, as in the worst kind of records because we live in Trump's hell. They are still human beings. They are human beings who died in law enforcement custody or at the hands of law enforcement. It is equally as tragic, and it's not something you should be surprised by. You shouldn't be like, oh wait, this is happening to me now, what the hell?
ICE's involvement in Martinez's killing in March of 2025 was only publicly revealed in February, roughly 11 months later. Martinez was out celebrating his birthday with his best friend Joshua Orta in South Padre Island. ICE says one of its agents fired defensive shots into Martinez's vehicle after Martinez intentionally ran over another ICE agent.
Is that something you think your son would have done?
Absolutely not. No, of course not. He was not a violent person. He was not aggressive.
Okay, well now imagine if you can, the idea that maybe if they lied about your son and his nature and his mentality and what he would or wouldn't do, they would do that about anyone else's son. They do not care.
Count was disputed by Orta, who said in a draft declaration that his friend did not hit anyone. Orta died in a car crash in February, before he could testify.
And that alone is accidents can happen, but Jesus, people need to stop showing up dead before they can testify against the US government.
Yes News, it completed its investigation into Martinez's killing, saying it would release the records related to the case on Friday. Last month, a grand jury rejected criminal charges related to the shooting. Charles Stamm is representing Martinez's family.
In a recent statement, your team said that a toxicology screen detected alcohol and marijuana in Ruben's system. Do you know whether Ruben was intoxicated when he was shot, and could that have played a role in what happened?
He was never stopped on suspicion of public intoxication or driving under the influence or anything of that nature. It's important to bear in mind that when Ruben lost his life, his car was in park, and right after those 3 bullets came through the window and went into his chest from that ICE officer, Mr. Orta's statement said that he said, "I'm sorry, sir," as his last words. This was not someone who posed a threat.
Reyes says she has deep respect for law enforcement. She also supported President Trump in the 2024 election, but she says change is desperately needed.
I don't blame President Trump for the death of my son because he wasn't the one who pulled the trigger.
Oh my God. Oh, that's okay then. If he didn't personally pull it, that's fine. As long as he only funded the people that pulled it and encouraged the atmosphere where the people who pulled it are lawless, that's totally fine.
But I do think that something needs to be changed in that department as far as the pattern of violence or abuse and impunity. Based on the statement.
And who could make changes at a department out of control and doing all these? Because she says patterns, so I'm guessing since it's happened to someone she knew, she suddenly looked into it and was like, wait, they are doing bad stuff. But who out there, who would have the power to change a government agency to make it stop being corrupt and to stop engaging in abuses and covering up stuff and acting violently? Who would have the power to do that? And also, who would have the power to not do that? Who would have the power to actually encourage an agency to be lawless and to act violently and recklessly and to push an atmosphere where they literally are spreading secret memos saying how to try and get away with, disrespecting the Constitution, not giving people their constitutional rights? I mean, what is the solution here?
Seeing how the words that they chose to put out there about my son, that's as insult to injury.
Reyes says she does not want other families to experience her pain.
What do you miss the most about Ruben?
Just his presence, just him being there, and I'm sad because I'm never going to see his children or, like the hopes and the dreams that he had. He was enthusiastically looking forward to, that it was just taken from us. And I feel it was preventable.
I'll agree with her that it was preventable, but I think for very different reasons from what she's getting at. I wish mainstream media had the balls to address this stuff more directly, but let's not forget, Trump ran both times on the platform a very, very anti-immigrant and specifically anti-Hispanic platform. Now, anyone claims he was very, very open about that. His base is overwhelmingly very open about the fact that they do not like immigrants, and they do not even like people who are citizens, but they register as immigrants. People of Hispanic heritage, for example. These are people that say stuff like, deport the homegrowns. These are people that cheer on the deaths of people of color. And it is such a crying shame that this person apparently thought they couldn't be touched by the very policies they were voting for. Now, recently, body cam footage of the shooting was released, which, and sit yourself down for this because it's a shocking one, appears to contradict ICE's account of why they gunned down a US citizen in cold blood. Let's start there. So that blue car is the car of Ruben Ray's car. It's stopped currently.
Stop him.
Now about 2 miles an hour.
Stop him. Get him out.
Brake lights are on again.
Get him out.
Now, as people have pointed out online and in articles, a second or two before the shooting, when it stabilizes here for a second, you can see the third parking light is on. Brake, park, which means the car was in park. So the ISIS story was they shot him because he was busy running someone over. In reality, the car was in park. And in reality, I mean, I'm not 100% sure on this. People said it's online. The video quality is not great. It's pretty sure that this is the guy who fired the shots through the window from the side of the car, which you might call the ICE special attack. Unfortunately, none of that is enough to change the minds of MAGA. It is well and truly a cult. And when someone challenges the cult narrative, no matter how much evidence or justification they have, the cult does what cults always do. They tighten ranks and they double down. Here's some lovely examples I dug up on social media of just such a thing happening. And it is not hard to find these. You can go on any post on Twitter, basically, Whether it appears to be a for or against ICE, the post itself, and there are commenters, Trump voters saying stuff like this. Here is a law-abiding Martinez on the right throwing a gang sign. I guess their point being, if you're captured at any point holding your fingers up like a dumb kid might, then you deserve to be shot by ICE. Obviously. Law and order, people. Now, bear in mind, these are this MAGA mother's compatriots, a group she thought she was part of when she voted. Don't care. Shouldn't have been there. I'm tired of you idiots playing with fire, expecting not to get burnt. That's what happens. From the way this is phrased as well, it kind of sounds like they just assumed it was at a protest. They're like, oh, somebody got shot by ICE? Probably a protest, in which case, fuck them, because protests aren't protected under the First Amendment or whatever. Just fucking shoot the protesters, please, if they don't say what I'm agreeing with. But this is what this MAGA man voted for, and this is the mentality perfectly summed up. Don't care. Just don't care. And the comments get worse, by the way. This is a great one. Need to start handing out awards to the ICE officers who get cleared in court for shooting these idiots. Lovely. These are very fine people, very fine Trump voters. Simple. Obey the laws and you won't find yourself dead. It's like, yeah, citation needed based on many, many decades of American history and law and order. But go off, King. We stand with ICE as they shoot kids in the face from the side while the car's in park. This shit is ghoulish. I mean, it's not surprising. Trump voters are ghoulish people. I think the one thing they have in common is that they have nothing in common because they have no empathy. The one thing they have in common is they hate everyone and don't give a shit about anyone else, which apparently it's a weird thing to join together on, but it's just a lovely meme. Saying that, if you try and run over a cop, you deserve to die. Even though, ignore the fact that it's in direct response to the original thread, which is basically saying how the video shows that they didn't try and run over a cop. Because who cares? That's the MAGA byline, and they're going to follow it. It's a cult. Support ICE. Straight up, fuck anyone that spends their precious time that we have on this earth to fuck with ICE agents simply trying to do their job. It's a weird take on, spending... I mean, I'd say spending precious time on this earth shooting people who, have a car in park. Because his actual crime was potentially maybe either being anxious, maybe a little bit tipsy, I don't know, and driving... getting confused and driving around a barrier at 2 miles an hour and then stopping when screamed at. That was the crime he was shot dead for. In MAGA world, that's just fine. Stay out of our way when we're conducting our official business. Period. Almost certainly this guy is not an ICE officer. We now have stolen valor for ICE officers. MAGAs are so fucking pathetic, and they're such losers now. There is stolen valor for being an ICE officer. The lowest of the fucking low. And the account, Gen Z Conservative, responds to ICE's defense, bullshit defense of why they did this, saying mass deportations. So imagine being the MAGA mum, being a Hispanic individual, and seeing this comment about your US citizen son, mass deportations. But again, this should not be surprising. You voted for this. This was always on the table. You just thought for some reason they didn't mean you when they said we don't like people that look exactly like you. And for the real pièce de résistance shit cherry on top of the MAGA turd sundae, there's this piece of dog shit.
Let's go Trump, let's go USA. I love ICE and I want more. This is what I voted for. Let's go Trump.
Imagine losing your son to an agency propped up, basically almost created, inflated by a man you voted for, and somebody makes terrible, appalling, abysmal AI-generated content about it, celebrating the fact that your son was killed by the thing you voted for. I mean, it's a hellish situation, but this is the consequences of voting for a hate movement like MAGA. The tragic irony here is all of these individuals imagine themselves to be impervious to the effects of the things they voted for. And as this woman's story shows, they're not. And if and when they do start to suffer because of their vote, their fellow MAGA will be the first in line to insult them and throw them all the way under the fucking bus. Because a community based on hate is no community at all. I'm British Chris, and this is Raw America.